plans do you have to assist your minister to expand access to rural electrification, taking advantage of renewable energy opportunities?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think, Mr. Chairman, I call him Mr. Speaker all the time. So.
Maybe where you think Chairman will fall to add first.
Right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That one, Chairman. Is that not you?
I think in the budget, it was made very clear that the government intends to have, you were talking about solar. Island communities and inaccessible communities, solar is the way forward. Sometimes it's too costly to send a grid to these remote areas for the benefit of health facilities and other such like. So I will, since it is a commitment of the government in the budget, I will just assist my minister to push that agenda.
Mama, so I'll yield to you. Or you have a follow-up. Owuraku, have you had any discussions with the president and or your minister as to what your role will be as deputy minister at energy? Which of the schedules are you likely to be on?
I do not know yet. I do believe there will be a meeting after today, and I will know then what exactly I'll be doing.
A meeting with who?
With the minister.
But we are yet to approve you, or your government representative there. So we are free to ask you a question on the energy sector general. ESLA, the energy sector levies, do you consider it any useful tax instrument, knowing that you have a huge energy sector related debt, a legacy debt of almost 4 billion Ghana cedis or 2.4 billion US dollars as is quoted. You have VRA and ECG with very troubling balance sheet. What will you do with your minister to assist to clear those outstanding issues?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the minister has made it clear, and I think it's government policy, public policy knowledge that the minister intends to clean the balance sheets of all these utilities so that they will be in a position to borrow against their balance sheet. As it stands right now, it is a bit of a mess. And I have heard the minister talking about bundling all the debt and issuing bonds, long-term bonds, to take care of the debt and free the utilities to borrow against their balance sheet.
The government of Ghana signed a major compact with the United States of America. The second compact, which largely looks at the energy sector and reforms within the energy sector, in particular the Electricity Company of Ghana. There has been delays in its implementation arising out of protests of the worker union on two issues. One, on the appointment and determination of a concessionaire, and second, on ensuring job security for all workers of ECG. You want to comment on this matter? How can we ensure an effective and early take-off of the compact?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think in the State of the Nation's address, the President alluded to the fact that he intends to bring all the stakeholders together, and then after that, we will see the way forward. And I can't say more about it than that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you appreciate the move to privatize VRA and ECG and list them on the Ghana Stock Exchange, as was announced by the President in his State of the Nation address to Parliament?
Mr. Chairman, I do not recall the President saying categorically that he was going to privatize VALCO or VRA or ECG. I don't recall, Mr. Chairman.
But do you recall that he mentioned that in the State of the Nation address, that he would list them on the stock exchange?
Mr. Chairman, I do recall there being the wishes having private sector participation, not wholesale flotation on the stock exchange.
So is that your understanding of listing a company on the stock exchange, VRA and ECG? What does that mean?
Listing VRA on the stock exchange wholesale? No, I don't think the president said that. No, it's a private sector. But I think that what exactly was said, I think is in the budget as well as the State of the Nation, as to bundle together all the hydros and then leave the thermals for the private. VRA then control the hydro, and the private sector will play a part in the hydro. That will free VRA from the acquisition of the perennial problem of crude acquisition and such like. Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
When new communities are connected to the national grid, it takes some months before they are built, sometimes 6 months, 8 months, and that accumulates their bills. So when finally sent to them, they find it difficult to honor them, and sometimes it even creates confusions among the customers and the ECG staffs. What will you do to ensure that this problem is addressed so that they will receive their bills as soon as they are connected?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is forms part, well, it leads to part of the commercial losses that ECG have been incurring for a very long time. And I do believe government is committed to put ECG on right footing to sort these perennial problems out, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the honorable nominee is quoted to have said that Sankofa gas deal cannot be allowed to stand. Now, when given the nod, he will have the opportunity to serve in a ministry which is in charge of this company, or this transaction. Are you still stand by your statement, and what are you going to do to ensure that the reason why you said it cannot stand, the right thing is done?
Mr. Chairman, I am a little bit confused that Sankofa gas cannot stand. I don't understand. I don't believe ever saying that.
Did you make any such statement first? Did you make any such statement?
Mr. Chairman, sitting here, I don't understand the phrase Sankofa cannot stand.
Said the deal, a Sankofa deal cannot stand. Did you make any such statement?
I do not recall. I've made several statements, but Sankofa gas, compared to the other gases that we've been getting, was a little bit on the expensive side. And that probably was led me to make that comment.
So the question is, now that you will be in a position to do something about it.
As I'm sure, Honorable Mr. Chairman, as I'm sure the Honorable appreciates, I am going to assist my minister. And it's whatever my minister says, and he asks me to play a part, and I'll do just that.
VLTC, which is a subsidiary of Volta Lake, and they depend on the haulage of this fuel to the north to survive. Of late, I think they are not getting the concession. Will you assure this committee that when you are approved, you talk to your minister to be able to assist VLTC to haul the fuel to the north, which is relatively cheaper than the road transport?
The challenge that the honourable member is referring to is really a matter of the volume of water in the lake. Right now, the water level is not high enough to transport fuel on the lake. So it's up to the big man upstairs to give us more rain, and then we can transport fuel on the lake.
Congratulations, Honorable Nominee. And I'll take my first question from where Honorable Samson Ahi left off. Indeed, you addressed a press conference on behalf of the minority, and you intimated that the Sankofa deal was inflated by $2 billion US, and even went ahead to suggest that it was the $2 billion was going to be a kickback to some people in government at the time, and so it needed to be looked at. So now that God being so good, your party is in power, you have been appointed to that same ministry where you will work with ENI. In fact, the Italian Prime Minister was in the country, and you reported this matter to him. So as minister in charge of that sector, what assurance do you have for Ghanaians that that inflated $2 billion that you spoke of will be retrieved from the officers you suspected were going to benefit as way of kickback?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To start with, I'm not the minister. I'm not going to be the minister in charge of the sector. I'm just going to be the deputy minister. We spoke based on the information we had at the time. And at the time, I was very confident. I have not changed my views because I haven't been given any different figures. Now that I'm going there, if figures through my minister is given, which speaks otherwise, then I will be man enough to retract.
What if it turns out to be true? I think that's what the assurance. If it turns out to be true, will you take steps to make sure that we recover our money?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will have words with my minister, and then we take it from there.
Well, the honorable nominee has been working in the ministry since, I think, the transition. I know because he has said so on radio that together with the minister, they have helped to give us, to make sure that we have
Honorable, can you please ask a question?
Anyway, I'm sure that we'll get the opportunity to ask the question again on the floor on this matter, because we'd like to know those who took the $2 billion you said was inflated. Now, the Sussex police, did you resign or you were fired?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I resigned.
May we know why?
Lack of promotion, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman.
The issue of renewable energy sources that the Honorable Minority Leader asked. And when he asked about renewable energy, I noticed that you quickly jumped to the conclusion that he was talking about solar. And you gave indications that in the budget there's a commitment to ensure a certain increase, a certain level of increased access to solar source by households and etc. But renewable energy is not just limited to solar. And at the Ministry of Environment, we piloted. Yes, a question. I'm laying the foundation for a question. At the Ministry of Environment, we piloted a program by using the human waste of the school children in senior high schools to generate gas to power a generator, which, as we speak, is lighting the school and also providing gas to their kitchen to cut down the cost of the gas for cooking at the dining hall. The plan was to extend this to all senior high schools so that you can reduce the consumption of energy, electricity in these schools, and you can free that to be used by other sectors. I just want your assurance whether this is something that you will work with the Energy Commission to pursue, because the Ministry of Environment really doesn't have a budget to extend this to all schools in the country. This is working. You can go to ministry. They will show you the schools.
If you want to make a statement, I'm sure the speaker would allow you, but please ask the question so we can proceed.
The question is, will you pursue this in all schools?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did read about this thing some time ago, but looking in the State of the Nation's address, the budget, no mention has been made of such a thing. And now that you mention it, perhaps I can suggest it if the opportunity arises.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations once more, the Honorable William Owuraku Aidoo. Honorable Aidoo, in response to the matter of your statements on the Ghana ENI deal, where you stated categorically that over $2 billion has been diverted into kickbacks, what you refer to as kickbacks. Is it fair to tell us today, more than a year after, you read this press statement on the 11th of February 2016, and today you are telling us that you are now going to find the facts and investigate further?
Honorable, that was what he said was that the information or the facts he relied on at the time, he hasn't had any fact to the contrary. If he finds any facts to the contrary, he will be bold enough to retract. So please use that as a basis of your.
So these are your words. You said on the 11th of February 2016, and I quote, "It is difficult to fathom the considerations that went into this agreement, which by every standard is skewed, shoddy, and appalling. It is safe to conclude, given the enormity of the matter, that some corruption might have influenced the negotiators to enter into such a bad agreement. Any of these does not exonerate the government and GMPC from blame. The government, GMPC, ENI, Vitol agreement simply stinks, and it is difficult to comprehend why negotiators will subject Ghana to such a raw deal," unquote. Did you utter these words?
Mr. Chairman, I still stand by the answer I gave to Honorable Suhini.
As a citizen...
Is that a yes or what? Did you utter these words?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman.
As a citizen of Ghana, His Excellency the President has asked us to be good citizens and not spectators. What have you been waiting for all these months? Why are you not approaching the police, the Attorney General's Department, to provide the evidence you have so that whoever has taken Ghana's $2 billion will refund it to the state? Why are you not taking any action since you delivered this press conference on the 11th of February 2016?
Mr. Chairman, many statements have been made in this country in politics similar to this, and I do not recall anybody being asked to go to the police. We put it out there for the general public's consumption, and then we move on.
So we can say anything, and then we move away, we move on. God help this country. My last question: the finance minister has just received an approval. Mr. Chairman, I'm being distracted. The finance minister came to Parliament, and I believe that yesterday, whilst we were here vetting, the bill was approved by the House, the earmarking and statutory funds capping bill. And I noticed that the 125 institutions that the long hands of the finance minister has descended on their IGF. These institutions under the energy sector have been affected. The Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, the Energy Commission, and the Petroleum Commission. Their IGF has been affected by the capping of this government. What do you say the impact will be? And wouldn't this intervention affect the smooth running in the operations of the Energy Commission, the Petroleum Commission, and the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission?
Mr. Chairman, I do not believe so, that it will adversely affect these three institutions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I want to take him to my constituency, where we have the only refinery in this country. I'm sure you might have read through some literature on the refinery. Can you brief this committee what is the true state as of December 2016 of the Mawa Refinery? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it was in the press, it was announced in the press some months before the general election that Tema Oil Refinery was making profits. And that was not quite the case. Tema Oil Refinery is still reeling. And I do believe steps have been put in place to resuscitate the facility. The details of it I'm not privy to. And with your help and the general plenary confirmed, I will find out and I'll give you as much information as I can.
Congratulations. This is a friendly question. The cost of electricity in Ghana is a concern to many Ghanaians. And when the new Patriotic Party was in opposition, it was an issue that you trumpeted across the length and breadth of our nation. That giving power, you reduce tariffs on electricity, make it affordable to give some relief to the households and then industry. Having been in power for some few months and having introduced your first budget to Parliament, do you have any clear indication?
Has the Honorable Aidoo introduced any budget to Parliament?
I mean, I'm talking about the government.
You said you haven't. I thought you were referring to the.
No,
nominee.
you were not listening.
I was listening to you. Otherwise, I won't be able to.
So, Honorable Nominee, do you see any clear indication of efforts to reduce cost of electricity in this country?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought you said you were going to ask me a friendly question. If this is friendly, I wouldn't like to answer a non-friendly question.
Honorable Mr. Chairman, after the presentation of the State of the Nation address, you spoke to some of these media stations, and very friendly, harmless. And you pleaded with Ghanaians to give His Excellency the President some time to be able to fix this doomsday challenge confronting us. We are told of the installed capacity as being higher than the demand. What is the cause of this doomsday? And why do you think you need so much time to be able to fix this doomsday?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's simply the challenges that we had in the last several years with power supply was purely financial. And I do believe the budget that was presented by His Excellency, will go a long way in fixing this problem with the finances of the country. Once the finances of a country is brought on an even keel, I do believe that we will be able to solve the power challenges that we've had for the last several years.
If the challenge is financial, their inability to mobilize enough resources has been the cause of the doomsday. Then what is your take on the debate that the energy sector levies should be reviewed? What is your take on it?
Energy sector levies, I think they've reduced the exposure of VRA to the tune of about 780 million Ghana cedis. And I do believe that the levies as it stands right now, if properly looked at, as I believe it's being looked at, it will go a long way in reducing the sector's exposure, which I think you were not here when the Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable Deputy Minority Leader said, to the tune of about $2.4 billion US dollars. It will go a long way in reducing it. And also, I alluded to the fact that earlier, we need to clean up the various utilities balance sheets by raising bonds, long-term bonds, that will free the balance sheets so that they can borrow against their balance sheets, and subsequently come up with this idea of a waterfall whereby the utilities that collect money will be escrowed, and then all those who are owed money will be paid proportionately, as opposed to right now, ECG collects their money and they spend it, VRE collects their money and they spend it. So that is the way forward, I believe.
My good friend, is there really doomsday currently?
Mr. Chairman, since January 7th, maybe end of February, beginning of March, we have not had the challenges. As I speak to you, as far as I know, there's no doomsday. No, what is happening lately is not really doomsday. It's just local interaction in power stations and things like that. It's not doomsday.
Honorable nominee, to your mother, the lights go off, it comes on. The explanation does not matter. It's doomsday. So whatever there is, fix it so that I don't experience it. Yesterday, we experienced it twice here in the chamber. So, very well. We come to the leadership now.
If you look at your manifesto, and I'm referring to page 40, it says that what the MPP is to do, they list the things that they do. They say end doomsday in the short term through government liquidity injection, restructuring of debts, and securing of firm commitments for the reliable supply of fuel. Now, this is well said, but we are still experiencing doomsday. What is the problem? You said that the problem of doomsday was financial. How much liquidity have you injected into the system?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do believe in the scheme of things, when one talks about the short term, you're looking at somewhere up to 1 year. We've been in government only 2.5 months. So again, on behalf of the President, I plead for time.
Do you have any idea as to how much has been injected or not? Sitting outside and looking in.
Mr. Chairman, I do not.
Now, it means that we still have doomsday, because
Mr. Chairman,
I experience it very, very often where I live.
It's a localized problem.
When Dr. Governor Donko redefined doomsday, everybody said no. Why are you agreeing with him today?
Disagreeing with Dr. Governor Donko.
You have a very good memory that you can't remember what was said about him. I will not worry about that. You know that in your manifesto too, you said you were bringing hydro together, and the rest, the thermal and the others, will also be grouped together. When is this thing going to be done? If you have any idea, timetable.
Mr. Chairman, I do not have any idea.
Now, we all know that renewable energy is the way to go. What will you advise your minister to do to get it immediately done?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think there is a commitment to have 10% of total energy requirement being renewable. And I do believe it's a policy that the government is pursuing. Thank you.